Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our CONVO couch. I am Pastor Jardula.
And I am Fiorella. And I'm going to tell you guys if you can please share this video because Facebook prevents me from sharing anything now. And I know my girl Lauren Steiner deals with this all the time. And she's going to be live on her page at 7 o'clock. She just messaged me saying, I hope you guys will be done by then. We were waiting for Jimmy to be done.
Yeah, the whole time we were sitting there logged up waiting, and Aaron Matei got on. And
Aaron Matei.
It took a little while,
awesome.
But they were breaking down a lot of stuff, what happened over the weekend.
Russia.
The Mueller report, and actually the conspiracy theorist Rachel Maddow and her continued activity, along with the whole
shots fired, fam.
Shots are fired. Mainstream media, their continued rhetoric about this whole Russiagate thing. They're just awful. They are the lapdog of the establishment, and we have a great show because Fam wants to talk about civility, right, Fam?
I do want to talk about civility, and I want to talk about civility because people are hypocrites in the Democratic Party, in the part of the establishment part of the Democratic Party. I know, who would have thought? And if you all remember, a few months ago, around October 2018, there was, and prior to that, there was all of these people calling for, fuck civility, like, we need to punch Nazis in the face, like, we need to go after these people, everybody is a racist, every Republican is a racist, there's no room for that, blah, blah, blah. I thought, and I know Pasta agrees with me, that saying generalized blanket statements like that does not help bring people on our side, especially because as Pasta and we have both lived in a southern state. We have both lived in places where there is a lot of working class white people and a lot of people who just were forgotten by the Democratic Party. And we know that they thought that Donald Trump, and they were duped, was running as an anti-interventionist, as an anti-establishment candidate. And they were like, I'm not voting for another, corporate, typical politician like the Clintons. So that's why they voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And so now, so let me kind of remind you guys.
Can I say something about that too, real quick about it? It's once again, it's the whole thesis of what we're talking about right now with the civility kind of topic today. It's that not everybody who voted for Trump is a racist or a bigot, whatnot. People voted because of economic reasons, and they discovered that the Democratic Party has turned their back on them over 35, 40 years ago. I mean, before we get into this show, Fam, and I was talking to somebody too as well, I said, when was the last time the Democratic Party had any big piece of legislation that really helped workers? And this whole kind of mentality right now, what we're swinging around to, is I think we have to make a decision, because the overall arcing message has been, and you said this on a lot of your videos, the Peter Buttigieg video that's going to be released soon as well, it's that who is our real enemy? Is it really the Republicans and Donald Trump, or is it the people who are closest to us, our own party? Because now with the civility thing, it's another red herring, Fam. And I want you to dive into this, because this was just, I remember us last year going over this.
Yeah, just a few months ago in October. So remember when Hillary Clinton said civility can start again when Democrats take Congress? This was on October 9th, 2008. This article was published on the National Review. And she basically said, you cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about. And she told this to CNN, and she said, that's why I believe if we are fortunate enough to win back the House and or the Senate, then you can talk about civility. So I wanted to point that out, because now it is the same people, the same centrists and the tone policers out there that are saying that, oh, we need to be civil. But what do you mean by civility, right? I don't condone focusing on low blows to attack candidates, because that doesn't get us anywhere. It doesn't really bring people to our side on either end, right? But they are using this kind of piety to cajole people into accepting centrist narratives. So, for example, Buttigieg does this all the time. He plays to platitudes. He talks zero policy. Kamala Harris is another one. And Biden, who just had his announcement speech today, which was horrible and terribly boring as well.
2.0, Hillary 2.0.
Yeah, Hillary 2.0. They all do this whole thing, and it's something as simple as stating facts now has become seen as being trashing a candidate. So just because I'm stating facts about a candidate doesn't mean I'm trashing them, right? Just because I am talking about their policy record doesn't mean I'm trashing them. I'm literally telling you what their record is legislatively, and I'm just putting it out there for you. And I did something like that with Warren, who I don't even see Warren as a rival. I see her more as a potential ally. But I did see, like, a lot of people were saying, oh, Bernie is more is to the right of her. And I'm like, no, like, She backtracked on Medicare for All.
Yeah.
She said she would take PAC money after the primary. And her issues with loyalty and back in 2016, those are concerns of mine. And so just because I posted something like that, people were like getting angry. And so now they were telling me I was trashing her. It's like, no, I'm not trashing her. I'm not trashing anybody. I'm just talking about the record.
This whole thing about like, okay, the civility test, and we're talking about civility, and then we talk about the purity test that have been online right now, a lot of discussions. And one of the things I saw is like, what do they want? Oh, what's with your purity test? Well, here's my resume. Just don't look at it. Mm-hmm. I mean, all we're doing is stating the facts of the way they voted, where they got their money from, and it's always going to come into play. So the whole talk is like, once again, I've also heard the purity talk coming back, like, oh, stop with the purity test. Bullshit. We're not trashing you. We're talking about your record. There's some things you can be forgiven about, that you've done in the past. I think that Tulsi has laid on a lot of her stuff on the line, and we've had a choice to forgive it or not. But a lot of the Democrats that, like, especially with guys like Buttigieg, who have this hidden past that we don't know about, as soon as you mention it, they're like, oh, what are you doing with your purity test? We're calling for civility. Don't trash other Democrats.
We need unity. We need this and that. So when
Unite under what?
Exactly, under a false pretense, because when it's about the Democratic establishment, they want unity. When you're calling them out, that's a whole other story. And so whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, or social media, it's become impossible to actually talk about the candidates without being called a racist, a misogynist, or an idiot. And that's really dangerous, because if we're not able to criticize these candidates, which is what this primary is all about, the primary is all about vetting candidates. It's all about putting it all out there for voters to have information. So many people are not informed. So many people just don't have access or don't know how to access this information. So that is why a lot of us in independent media are here and we're putting it out there. And a lot of organizers have been doing the same thing. And
squeaking.
Exactly. And I wanted to point that out. And I wanted to also point out the fact that in this article, Hillary Clinton talked about how many members of the Civility Police come from the beleaguered center right of the party, and their calls for unity are often for warning progressives to lower their sights and curb their tongues. So actually, this is in retort to the Hillary Clinton kind of centrists who are like, telling you can't talk about this. Yeah. This is explaining how, in actuality, this is why they're doing. The chiding often comes with shots at Bernie Sanders, specifically the more left in general.
Well, I think at the end of the day, their end game is like what? They still want to have the any blue will do kind of mentality, vote for blue. If Bernie Sanders doesn't win this, we have to still be united and vote for a centrist Democrat. Mm-hmm. And, it's very telling of them to even the leadership people to support Joe Biden as he's going into this. It means they don't give a shit. They're not listening to progressives. Right. They're going to put forth a person who has the same type of background, especially when it comes to war. You can call him Warmonger Joe. When it comes to the Anita Hill situation, we dove into these things. Yeah. We can dive back into it. But it's just plain and simple that they're still trying to sell this, oh, don't mind that they're a corporatist. Stop with your purity test. Any blue will do. We have to unite. And I think it's at this point we're saying, no, don't try this shit again. If you try this shit again, if it's a retake of 2016 where, Bernie says, I hope that they're going to be fair. I don't know, but you're going to lose.
And this is also from The Nation, and they talk about how the only way that they want to unite is if you push moderate and centrist ideals.
Yes.
So they're saying, The Nation says, in reality, Sanders is now part of the leadership of the Senate Democratic Caucus, because they keep saying he's not a Democrat. He ran and won on both the Independent and the Democratic line for the Senate in Vermont. He ran a powerful 2016 campaign for the presidency in the Democratic primaries, and then helped fashion the party's platform, which a lot of people have copied now, while endorsing the nominee and working harder for her election than virtually any other ally, which is exactly what he did. And he is now the most popular senator in America. And he is still getting this kind of criticism as if he didn't do any of that. And it sucks because he's getting the criticism from the ultra left, like, oh, he sold out. He endorsed Hillary Clinton. And then he's getting the criticism from the centrists that are like, oh, well, he didn't work hard enough for her. It's his fault that Hillary lost. And so it's
he
like,
damaged her, is what they said. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, they still hold on to the fact that a lot of people still out there are still saying that, make no mistake about it, Bernie Sanders ruined Hillary Clinton's chances to become the president during the primaries by telling the truth. It's the same kind of mentality. Like, I'm like, okay, that's what primaries are for, first of all. And if she won without Bernie Sanders saying all that stuff, guess what? She would have faced it in the general during Donald Trump, and she did even worse attacks. So I mean, it's kind of stupid when they just kind of play this stupid same type of game.
And it's funny because they're like, "Oh, why you're still in 2016?" It's like, no, I'm trying to move along from 2016, but you guys are still saying the same thing, talking about the Brady Bill, talking about the essay that was written out of context, all of the same things that he didn't vote, that he's never passed an amendment. Like, it's just ridiculous.
And wait for the Republicans to bring up the Jane Sanders story about her. Yeah. That will come into play because you can tell the establishment tax and the Republican tax. That, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the whole Russiagate scandal seemed to be also fueled by the fact that the fucking Republicans used Benghazi for years to attack Clinton on something else that when they supported the whole Libyan takeover in the first fucking place. Yeah. So I'm sorry, but didn't mean to get off track.
No, it's okay. And I just want to put up this quote because this is kind of, this tweet that I have.
Fam, you're getting savage on Twitter over there, man.
Well, wealthy elites and celebrities calling for civility and attempting to hush criticisms of corporate-owned candidates running for POTUS is the U.S. modern-day equivalent of let them eat cake. You all know what happens next. And so, and I had the Game of Thrones quote because they haven't seen it, and Pasta's mad that I watched it without him, but I couldn't stop. Because...
So is Johnny. Johnny, can you please get over here and stuff like that? Because if you want to talk about this, we are pissed off. Before we got on air, she went and watched Game of Thrones without us, and that was the fam kind of activity to do. Like, we don't watch Game of Thrones unless we're all together. And yesterday, me and Johnny were off home making chicken wings, and John said, we can watch Game of Thrones now, and I immediately say, nope, not without fam. What does she do? She turns around and watches it without us, so no spoiler alerts over here. Go ahead, Johnny, what do you got? No, Johnny, Johnny, you're the one who said it. Come on, get on there and say, like, I think your sister should be punished. There should be some form of punishment. Something like, clean like the patio or pick limes off the tree or something.
No. But no, that's not going to happen. But I just couldn't do it because I was going to go online and I knew I was going to go online and someone was going to spoil it for me. And I warned people, but they were still like, get offline if you don't want spoilers. And
well, they said all I know is that something happened with Arya from online. So I don't want to hear what happened. Don't tell me anything.
All I have to say is to my viewers, #not today. Not today.
Oh, shut up.
Okay. The third thing I wanted to talk about is that they don't want you to know about Biden's donors. Mm-hmm. They consistently don't talk about
Comcast.
They don't want you to know how they keep saying, oh, he outraised everybody the first day, but the 6 million that they're talking about all came from bundlers.
Yes.
And it's obvious, and if you do the math, it's obvious. So I'm asking people, like, whose interest do you think he's going to prioritize if he's getting all his money? Yeah.
Does that mean we're going to have Joe Biden's going to fight for net neutrality? No. If he's meeting with Blue Cross Blue Shield, does that mean he's going to be fighting for single-payer health care? No. He meets with all these big corporate donors that are in place to make sure that these policies don't come into effect. They don't want single-payer health care. You'll never get it with Joe Biden. They don't want you to have net neutrality. He met with the leader of Comcast, for crying out loud.
You're like going to break the audio.
Because they're doing it again. I mean, they're running another Hillary 2.0. This is her. I mean, and once again, we can call them all these other things, warmongering Joe and stuff, but they say don't talk about it. And if you talk about it, if you talk about the truth, then you're trashing somebody. Please.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm just laughing at you. I wanted to talk about also, I did mention Warren, and I wanted to show proof of what I was saying because some people didn't know about this. She took 2 interviews, one with TYT and one with, I think it was Real Clear Politics. And she basically said, I'm not going to take money from PACs and, corrupt money in the primary. But in the general, we have to do everything we can to beat Trump.
Fam, I got some questions to ask you about this after, because you made a statement there, and I think it was kind of like a lot of people are talking about this. And after this little we watch this here, I got a couple questions for you, fam.
So can you play it, Johnny? Thanks.
Make sure it's loud.
So I'm excited about it.
So here's my question: You've been in politics for a little while. You've just recently reelected, and
That's
during
right.
that
One
time,
Senate term,
right? One Senate term, right? So, and during that time, you've done calls to wealthy donors. You've done big ticket fundraisers. You put together a pretty good war chest. I think about $11 million that you had amassed. What does that say about what you were doing before? If this is the right way to do it now, why now and why not before?
So look, I've never actually been in a deeply competitive primary. I get it. Republicans come to the table armed to the teeth. They've got all of their donors, their wealthy donors. They've got their super PACs. They've got their dark money. They got everything going for them. And I'm just going to be blunt. I do not believe in unilateral disarmament. We got to go into these fights, and we got to be willing to win these fights.
So this just applies to the primary. Like, were you to get the nomination, or anyone else to get the nomination, like, just raise all the money you can, however you can.
Yes, but here's what I want you to see that's different about it, Chris. Think about the difference once we're down to the two candidates. If the Democrats have spent the next year in a primary building this thing face-to-face, person-to-person, neighbor-to-neighbor across the country, think of the kind of foundation that we have laid down so that when we're really up against it in the general election, it's not just money to fund television ads. It's all the folks who'll do the door knocking. It's all the folks who'll make the phone calls. It's all the folks who'll reach out to the...
Okay. First of all, I just want to say I used to be a huge fan of Elizabeth Warren. I mean, she was one of my favorite people.
That's hard to watch.
I was inspired. I really, really loved her. And I still can't come to really, really dislike her. I still can't come to, throw her out because I do feel like she has good policy. I, for a fact, feel like she will not ever beat Trump. She wouldn't stand a chance against him. And this is why, because she is doing the whole pandering situation. She's literally doing the whole twisting the words a little bit, kind of making it unclear as to where she stands. But really what she is saying is, once we get to the general, I'm willing to do everything. And the dangerous thing about Elizabeth Warren, and the good thing too, is that she's really good at talking to people and making it seem like it's a plausible, practical thing to do. But really what she's saying is we're willing to fight dirty and take dirty money as long as we beat Trump. And it's problematic because she is still part of the status quo. She's still a capitalist in her bones. She is still backtracking from Medicare for all. And for me, the whole Medicare for all thing, that's what does it for me. Do I support her being in a cabinet position and Bernie? Absolutely. I do think maybe faced with people to the left of her, she would be able to do more because she's constantly faced with people to the right of her. But I just don't see her having the ability to lead a movement and lead with momentum.
Yeah, well, that was part of my question, is because I asked that question when we did the Bernie Sanders trivia video. Tulsi Gabbard, more ally or adversary? And a lot of people said ally. You said you see Elizabeth Warren as more of an ally than an adversary. But with a mentality like that, how could we be 100% sure? Because once again, that's the root of all evil. That was the thing she was always against. She was always economics for, equality, economic equality, going after the credit card companies, putting them in check, the bank. She understood it completely. But now she's still saying, oh, because they do it, we can do it. But once you take that money, you become an employee. You're
done for me once you take that money. And the reason I don't see her as a full adversary is because I don't think she's really going to get in the way of Bernie. I think she is inadvertently getting in the way of him because she's putting out these she's tokenizing. She's talking about things that she knows she's not going to push through. She's talking about reparations as if she's going to push through it, which she's not. She's talking about debt-free student loan forgiveness, which Bernie actually touched on way back in 2015, but now she's taking it to another level, and like the whole media is highlighting it. But the reason I feel bad for her is because she could actually be propped up more, and she's not being propped up more. The centrists hate her. They actually think she's too far left, and it's really interesting. Like, it just shows how far right the Democrats have gone to where they call Elizabeth Warren a progressive when she's really kind of lost the cred. She's left to center, good on policy, but she's not really a progressive in our terms. And
she's got
crazy
progressive policies that you said behind her and stuff.
Policies.
She's way better than most. I mean, I have a feeling that Elizabeth Warren and Tulsi Gabbard are out there kind of jockeying for vice president or a cabinet spot of sorts. And once again, I feel the same for you as you do. Excuse me. Elizabeth Warren in a Bernie Sanders cabinet would be a good thing. They've been friends for a long time. And I think it would be nice and refreshing to see her to deal with people for the left of her rather than have to deal in the Senate, which people don't, you have to understand it's predominantly center-right, the Senate. Even when the Democrats had the majority with Harry Reid, it was still leaning towards center-right. So
ultimately,
what's actually pretty funny, though, is that somebody on our Facebook just linked us to a a website that says most popular Democrats that were once Republicans.
Oh yeah, Elizabeth Warren. Yeah,
Elizabeth was one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was common knowledge, but like, in case you guys, in case you guys didn't know, like, she definitely was, and that's one of the criticisms she gets. But for me, it's like at least she's come around and she did attack Wall Street and she did attack the big banks, and I just do not see her leading a movement.
Can I say something about this too in this article? And I understand when they're saying that stuff, but when you're raised in a family, a Republican household, you become a Republican until you break away. Yeah. You know, I mean, I wasn't really a Republican. I was never registered Republican, but I had somewhat of a conservative household and a conservative background. And, you know, I enlisted in the service, which now the person I am, I'm totally peaceful. I want to make meatballs. I don't want to make war. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? I'm that type. Not on No Meat Mondays, Shawnee Badger. We're going to have salad and pasta upstairs. But I mean, you know, it's just like people kind of raised in that family. And Tulsi had the same kind of thing, you know? Mm-hmm. You break away from it eventually. So I know she was once. And Charlie Crist is still a friggin' Republican. I'm from Florida when you show that shit over there. And
yeah,
stuff like
Harley Rauda in Congress.
But why don't we talk about another one that, you know.
Yeah, he was
Hillary
a Republican
Clinton.
6 months ago.
Listen, the establishment Democrats try to elect a Goldwater girl, okay? And Hillary Clinton. So let's not forget that. But, fam, this is one that comes up all the time. And I asked you the other day, I said, fam, is it wrong for me to think that Joe Biden's groping, his creepy groping, isn't half as bad as what he did to Anita Hill?
Right.
And you said, no, Pasta, you were right. And I like when fam pats me on the head and says, good job, and you gave me a good job here. Why don't you explain it?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you guys recall, the Democrats, like, anytime it's a Republican or anytime it's someone they don't like, they go after them when it comes to the Me Too movement. They've been pushing the Me Too movement. Alyssa Milano is one of those people that has been pushing the Me Too movement after stealing it from Tarana Burke, the one that came up with the hashtag. And anyway, they've been pushing this thing about believe women and women this. And when the whole Kavanaugh situation happened, I was very against Kavanaugh. I honestly that man being Supreme Court judge is disgusting. And then so we've known about his issues with women. There's videos with kids. There's all kinds of videos about Joe Biden. Okay. But what he did with Anita Hill, how he humiliated her, how he didn't even initiate enough of an investigation into it. He made her look like she was the perpetrator rather than the victim. Yeah. And to me, that is far more harmful and as a man in a position of power that could have done so much, and he didn't do it, that is far more harmful than any of the allegations that he's being accused of. And it's far more hypocritical of the Democrats who have been screaming, oh, Anita Hill and this and that. Just completely erase that and say, well, Biden, we're for Biden. It's okay. He's going to beat Trump. He's the one that can do it. He's the one that's likely to do it. And they say this based on nothing but like things they hear.
Well, it's just they're established candidate and they have to cover up from any way possible. It just shows the hypocrisy. And in all fairness to Alyssa Milano, I don't think she stole it. She used the hashtag and she gave Burke credit for it and stuff like that.
Oh, however, our girl Michelle said she was never given credit for it. So
no, I saw a speech, I think, where she was given credit and stuff, and she wrote an article about it. It was a long time ago. But regardless, fam, she still has a responsibility that she's walking away from and having Joe Biden on her show, which is bad because of the Anita Hill situation. It's terrible. You know what I'm saying? Remember, Joe Biden refused to let a witness come up that will corroborate Anita Hill's story of sexual assault. And that's hook, line, and sinker. I don't care when he did it, but it should disqualify him automatically. And all these Democrats that are all Me Too friendly and all stand behind it and every single chance they can get to call somebody a racist or a misogynist or a bigotist, and yet they're going to sit there and say it's okay for Joe Biden to do what he did. Where's my...
Your Me Too card is revoked, in my opinion, if you're supporting Joe Biden, just based on the entire history he has. If policy alone doesn't get you there, I hope that that does. And here's hoping that it's enough to push him away. So, fam.
Yeah. We're talking about my girl?
Your girl.
My girl. Watch this here going on now. We're going to jump to another... Well, listen, let's stay on a lighter subject. We're going to go to a lighter subject. We're going to talk about Tulsi and Libya. Light. Go ahead. Play the video. Cue the video.
We have this video. And this is why Tulsi is Tulsi.
Let's all go to the movies. Let's all go to the movies.
To our healthcare here in the States, people are dying of poverty. And yet people are dying of poverty in Afghanistan, in Syria, in Yemen, in Iraq, in parts of Africa. because we have started those wars. Tulsi, how are you going to fight your own party, our own Democrats? How?
Yes.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry.
Thank you for sharing your heart with all of us. You speak for so many whose voices are not being heard. You have just laid out why I'm running for president. It's not... This is not a political ambition that I have had for myself. With the obstacles that are in place and the challenges that exist, it is because of the people that you're talking about, people whose lives are being impacted, that make me work tirelessly to run for president to bring about this change. We're not naive to the challenges that lay before us, or the obstacles that are placed ahead of us, or the smear tactics that are used against us. Yes, it's coming from within our own party. The most attacks I get are not from Republicans. They're from Democrats. They're from people in the mainstream media. They are from people in the foreign policy establishment that you're talking about, people who represent the interests of the military-industrial complex. But you know what? You know what? The answer to how we overcome this, it's us. It's we the people. The stronger they come, the stronger we respond. And you know what? We don't respond. We don't respond to their dirty tactics or their hate with more hate. We respond with strength and love and our message of peace and humanity. We cannot lose faith in the power that we hold within our own hands, our own feet, our own voices, and our hearts. It is only when we reclaim our own voices and our own power in dictating the change in this country that we need to make that we can be successful. People will get into a lot of conversations about political tactics and how do we win this race and who's going to beat Donald Trump. Bluntly, I might get in trouble for saying this, what does it matter if we beat Donald Trump if we end up with someone who will perpetuate the very same crony capitalist policies, corporate policies, and waging more of these costly wars? This is why I'm running for president. This is not a joke. This is not for fun. This is not about me. It's about all of us. It's about our future. Making sure that we have one. I ask for all of your support. I ask you to stand shoulder to shoulder with me in this movement for peace abroad, peace at home, so that we can fight for that path towards a bright future with opportunity and justice, equality and respect for all. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good right there. We'll stop it right there.
So much for coming out, everybody.
Fam.
Wow.
I started to cry in the beginning again, fam. I just started to cry when that lady was speaking.
This is why a lot of people have fallen in love with Tulsi, and a lot of people really support her, especially online, especially on Twitter, because she like Bernie. She reminds me of like a younger version of Bernie. And by the way, I say that because she was the only one to literally step down and endorse him. And it literally it's that idea of, yes, even if these people come at us nasty, we're not going to respond to them in that way. We're going to come from a place of love. We're going to do our thing. We're going to make this world a better place. I'm not running for me. I'm running for a higher purpose. I'm running to end this system, to take us out of this crony capitalism, to stop the regime change wars and our interventionist policies. That's why she's running, and that is why I respect her, and I know and I feel that she's going to be president someday. And to me, she is my like, it's really hard. It's been really hard, and I mean, just interviewing her and having her here and getting involved, like she's pretty amazing, and I fully do support her, especially for this, because nobody is as good on foreign policy as she is.
This is the reason why we love her. This is the reason why we support her. I mean, you're talking about Tulsi Gabbard, foreign policy. They're saying this stuff, and what's really telling to me, fam, is this woman coming up and speaking these things. People are realizing all around the world too. We need a peace candidate. We need a peace movement, and that's why it's uber important that this woman stays in these debates, stays in this race, because she's going to help pull Bernie even further to the left when it comes to these issues. And she's got a great insight for it because of her position, which it comes from her cabinet positions, being involved in the military and stuff. Yeah. And she understands the price of lives more than anybody. Seeing people die on the battlefield. She was in Iraq, fam, as a medic. We talked about this before. And when she comes up and she says these things, it really just gets to my heart. I was starting to tear when that woman was speaking, because, and she points out what we talked about in the first part of the show. It's not the Republicans who are attacking her mostly. It's Democrats.
It's Democrats. And they're keen on attacking both Tulsi and Bernie. And you have to ask yourself, why them? Why specifically them? Why are they only attacking them, smearing them? When they went to that conference with the women, they I haven't verified this, but I heard there are people that are telling me that there were people paid to boo them. Yeah. And so I want to go research on that further and see what I can come up with. But honestly, to me, this is exactly what would make a great Secretary of State, with what could make a potential VP, anything like that. And eventually a president. I think she definitely has what it takes. But especially what that woman said. That woman said, people are dying here without health care in America. Right? People are dying here without health care. People are also dying over there in Yemen and Syria and all these places where we intervene or put in our puppet masters in there. They're dying of war. They're dying of famine. They're dying through violence that is caused by our interventionism. And then we are creating these refugees that need help and that come in here. And then we have an immigration problem. And so all of this is circular. And Tulsi is, again, she's another person that's a big picture thinker, and she's looking at the whole thing. And she's not focused only on just the domestic economy, but she's aware of how much our domestic economy suffers when we use foreign diplomacy irresponsibly. That's a huge point to take away from her speech.
Yes, one big basket, right, fam?
Yeah.
Like we not only the fact that we just go out and we set these countries on fire and we kill these people and set chaos there and stuff like that, but our taxpayers' dollars go towards that. So now we spend money on that. Then that causes a big immigration problem, and then they're coming over here now, and now we have to deal with it there. Then they get into our society or whatever happens and all these other systems. There's more money. So it's just one thing after the other, and this is a big place to start. 51% of 51 cents on every dollar, federal tax dollar collected, goes to the war machine. So if you're wondering where our domestic money can come from, it's coming from right there. You pull from Peter and you pay for Paul, wherever you want to do it. But it's a win-win situation for a fiscally conservative progressive who wants us to spend money on our own infrastructure, our roads, and everything at home by not going out and bombing these other countries and spending money there as well. And Tulsi sees you said the big picture, fam. You're right. Everything's connected, and Tulsi sees it. And you know what? A lot of the American people are seeing it nowadays. Don't be fooled by MSN and the mainstream media and what they tell you. They're still pushing their narrative. They still want to talk about Donald Trump and his taxes and other bullshit. They still want to talk about Russia. Meanwhile, a lot of these Democrats and these people within this media, they're the ones who caused these problems. In 2009,
they benefit from them.
They benefited all financially. Cool, you know what I'm saying? They're donors. So let's take a look at this video. Do you want to talk about this anymore, fam?
Oh, no.
Because I want to lead right into what Tulsi was talking about. When that lady was taught and she was crying and said this, Nico House had this video up, and I had to repost this. Watch this here. Now, these are people in the streets of London protesting a year ago.
Imprisoning our people. The EU should wake up. NATO should wake up. America should wake up. When Gaddafi was there, everybody wanted to get him out. But there are people being enslaved out there, and no motherfuckers are doing anything about it. We have to come and demonstrate out here. What the fuck is NATO doing? What's EU doing? What Theresa May is doing? The media is more interested in Donald Trump's Russian links. Fuck Trump and Russia, blood. Talk about this. Where's BBC? Where's CNN? Why do you have to bring the camera down here? Where's CNN, blood? Where's BBC? Come on now. My personal view, they want to recolonize Africa. That's what they want to do. France wants to recolonize Africa. There's so many military bases in Africa. What for? Why is America got so many military bases in Africa? Why is France got so many military bases? What the fuck are they doing there? When people are getting raped and killed and enslaved every day, what's African Union doing? The only way they can tackle the solution...
you could see that, fam, like that. They're in the streets, they're talking about the slave trade. Like, nobody's out there talking about it. He's talking to, like, a CONVO couch kind of person out there with a camera, this dose of, what's it called? Whatever. But once again, it's like, where's CNN? They don't cover this on purpose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it was United Nations. It was us who caused this place. Because let me tell you something. Libya was the richest country in Africa, okay? And once NATO got involved, we have an article from Counterpunch. They bombed it back to the fucking Stone Age, first of all. Excuse my French. And they now there's an actual slave trade going on. And guess who was in power, fam? It was a Democrat. So don't sit there and tell me any blue will do, because it's the same blueprint. What they did with Russiagate, they sent their little minion and Adam Schiff to go out there, and he's been out there pushing their little fucking narrative, and they did the same thing in Libya. Fam, guess what I have over here? I have a little bit of article. I have a little article, a little video of Adam Schiff on Al Jazeera. Now, the video isn't great, fam, but watch what this guy does. He gets out in front of Obama and Clinton when it comes to bombing here.
Yeah, thank you for being with us, Mr. Schiff. What is your assessment of how the White House and the State Department have handled this Libya situation thus far?
Well, I would like to see them, as I urged with Egypt, be very forward-leaning and make it abundantly clear that we stand with the Libyan people, that this kind of violence being used on peaceful protesters is appalling and absolutely unacceptable. I think we should join with the international community and urge, frankly, if they're going to be using jets to bomb their own people, that any Libyan pilots would be welcome to defect with their aircraft or otherwise. But we ought to unmistakably let the Libyan people know that we stand with them.
So you think that
we are in solidarity with their democratic aspirations?
You think the message that's been coming out of the U.S. thus far hasn't been strong enough?
We'll see what the Secretary and President have to say today. I think their language is going to be even stronger. But events, I think, in the region have been moving more quickly than the administration. And this is, from my point of view, a once-in-a-generational moment where the people in this region that are aspiring for democracy are going to be looking to see what our reaction is. We want to be on the right side of history. We want to be with them in their hour of need and their hour of aspiration for democracy.
Well, how can you do that?
I want to make sure our administration and our Congress speak unequivocally.
Fam, it's only once in a generation that we can go out there and bomb a country back into the Stone Age, that we can actually get them to implement slavery back into their country, because we bombed the shit out of them, fam. We got to take advantage of this once in a generation kind of thing from Adam Schiff.
We did this with pretty much the majority of the countries we've occupied in the Middle East, by the way. There are before and after pictures of these countries, like Syria, that show what exactly happens when we get involved. And Iran, exactly. And it's just one of these things where we would honestly do ourselves, our people, and them a favor if we would just stop involving ourselves in these wars. I can't say it enough.
Yeah. And it was like richest country in Africa, slave trade now there. We bombed the hell out of them. And do you think Adam Schiff would apologize? You heard that rhetoric. He was encouraging people to commit treason on their own country. Hey, any Libyan pilots that want to defect, we'll take you over there. He's actually planning a coup on fucking national television over here, or cable TV, no matter what. He's still advocating for it. And he was even so quick to say, I don't think the administration is even doing it aggressively enough. They're acting behind. They're acting slow. And here's the thing that's disgusting. Do you think that Adam Schiff would apologize to the people, to those people that were marching in the street? No. What does he do? Look at his next tweet. He uses Libya to politicize the situation, to attack Donald fucking Trump. Somebody needs to primary this asshole right around the corner over here in Burbank and get rid of him. He is the establishment's minion, okay? Mm-hmm. And when you get it up, once again, don't talk about the what happened, what you were responsible for. Just attack Donald Trump even more, fam.
And that's exactly it. And Bernie talked about this too. That we can't spend all our time attacking Donald Trump. You want to read the tweet?
Well, the tweet, it says Trump has endorsed General Haftar in Libya, an authoritarian attacker in the UN-backed government. Just a reversal of the same situation he did in North Korea. Blah blah blah. Yada yada yada. Platitudes, platitudes, platitudes. Explanation. Hashtag never Trump. Hashtag but Russia.
New York Times World. Helping that narrative.
Yeah, I mean, it's once again, they caused the problem. And I don't understand what's with this Democratic Party. They keep putting forth these donkeys. Let me say this, fam, if you're not lying, but you get something extremely wrong, you should never be listened to again. So the case for Adam Schiff, so the case for Mueller. Don't people remember that Robert Mueller either lied to the people when he said there was chemicals of mass distraction in Iraq, or he was completely so fucking wrong that he should never be listened to again, let alone led a witch hunt on fucking Russia. So,
And I just want to say, and I talked about this earlier via tweet. It just seems like the establishment is focused not on running against Bernie Sanders or I'm sorry, not running against Trump, but they're focused on running against Bernie Sanders, and they are willing to lose to Donald Trump in order for them to pick one of their elected candidates. Yeah. And that's why Tulsi is in there too. They're attacking her and Bernie because they would rather lose to Donald Trump because at least they're going to be okay. The status quo doesn't change. Yeah. But if one of those two get into power, then everything changes.
Yeah, things done changed.
It's done. And someone like Mike Rabel, too, is another anti-war guy on Twitter. He's fire, and he's extremely anti-war, and that's why he loves Tulsi a lot. And if any of these people with this mentality, this anti-war mentality, get into power, they're done because the military-industrial complex is the one that controls so much of our narrative and so much of what gets said on the news and what gets left out.
And let's not forget this is a macro situation, because I want you to put up the picture of Hillary Clinton and Muammar Gaddafi's son. This was like almost a year and change before they decided to go in there and bomb him. Why? Because after this picture took place, not so much time after, Gaddafi wanted to start his own currency, gold back. So now you show that you're united because they're on the same team now. They're working for each other. And then all of a sudden, boom, things done change. Gaddafi wants to start his own bank. The IMF goes apeshit crazy. The Rothschilds tell Hillary Clinton there he is. That was April 21st, 2009. She started the campaign in 2010. I was like, oh, no.
That was a great year.
Yeah.
We did a coup in Honduras that year as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You know what I'm saying? We were finishing up one coup, starting the... Listen, you can't knock the military-industrial complex and these establishment Democrats like Adam Schiff, where we say no blue will do, because they at least, when they finish one regime change, they're working on the next. And not only this, we talk about the Obama administration. You got Syria, Libya. What else do we have? We have drone bombings everywhere. Yemen even increased because he was in the Saudis' pocket and stuff like that. It's that, the Venezuela thing. Obama had a part to play in that too.
We can't allow that.
Maduro, after Chavez passed away, they were getting their citizens to do what? Come and sign a piece of paper to object to the way Obama was putting sanctions on them and hurting their country. So no blue will ever do. Just like Tulsi said. The attacks, and Fiorella said this, the people who are closest to us. I wish I had Don Corleone saying, keep your friends close, Fredo, but keep your enemies closer. Because our enemies are right next to us. Yeah. There's sometimes the people we're rallying with, sometimes the people in the street, they're out there to just bag on Trump. We're out there to bag on the system. So It's a whole big difference.
Trump is a symptom of the system.
Exactly.
And need I remind you, he's exactly right. We are not just going to be able to defeat Donald Trump and then everything's solved.
Yes.
Because he is a system of the entire problem, we need to focus on actually, healing the wound, the deep wound, and not just put Band-Aid solutions constantly. Otherwise, we're going to end up with a dead country. Yeah. That's what we are. So,
fam, we got into it at 6:45 on the Western Front. It's 9:45 on the Eastern Front, and if you're military time, it's 18:45 here in Pacific. We want you to thank you all who are on the MCSC network to come on over to the YouTube on the Convo Couch YouTube. We have a Convo Couch Facebook. We have a Twitter.
And
we have an Instagram. And if you haven't gone on Fiorella's Twitter yet, You're missing some savagery. It's really quite entertaining. I got to prop up my partner there, fam. I love your tweets, and I want you to keep it going. But we want you guys to convert over to our Convo Couch YouTube tonight. And for our Patreons out there, we got 9 of them now, fam.
Sweet.
I want to thank them, Rocky Bellinger, and all these other people. Thank you so much. I am Pasta Jardula. Whoa, you have something?
Yeah, I got something.
Oh, he's got hit with a breaking thing. Hit the thing.
I saw Mike Gravel. He posted a tweet, and it's that video. I kind of want to show that video.
Please do. Sure. Let's do it.
But doesn't he only have like a couple days left to get the what's it called?
The
minimum subscribers
qualification.
I don't think he's gonna get it. He started too late.
It would be great, but
it would be awesome. But we should probably. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna go donate $2 to Mike Gravel because we need him on the debate stage. It would be great. Go ahead.
But let's maybe bring up the topic of the day, which is the Green New Deal.
How much will this cost? That's unclear. How will we pay for it? Unknown.
It's not realistic.
Because there's no way to pay for it.
It's immoral.
The younger generation now tells me how tough things are. Give me a break. No. I have no empathy.
I'm guided by the beauty of our weapons.
I think Medicare for all is one of the possible paths.
So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy. This was a little controversial in San Francisco.
He did ask you yes or no. Would you support free college for all?
I am not for free 4-year college for all, no.
What is it?
It reminds me of Walter White here. It's a gangster.
He does, like an older version of Walter White.
Nope. Whack him.
Human beings are being killed as I speak to you tonight.
So is that Mike Gravel?
Killed as a direct result of policy decisions we as a body have made.
This approach of war on drugs has not succeeded. We've spent billions of dollars on it.
And we fill up our prisons to the point where we're the embarrassment of the world. We're supposed to be a democracy. We've got more people in prison, 2.3 million people in prison.
We spend more as a nation on defense than all the rest of the world put together. This whole nation should be a sanctuary for the world. I'm ashamed as an American to be building a fence on our southern border. That's not the America that I fought for. Our soldiers died in Vietnam in vain. You can now, John, go to Hanoi and get a Baskin-Robbins ice cream cone.
Why do they hate us so in so many places around the world?
Because we kill so many people wantonly. Oh, Joe, I'll include you too. You have a certain arrogance. You wanna tell the Iraqis how to run their country. And we can get off of gas
I didn't know he
in
did
5
that.
years.
Oh, yeah.
And we can get off of carbon in 10 years. All we got to do is want to do it. Just play get out. It's their country. They're asking us to leave, and we insist on staying there. The military-industrial complex not only controls our government, lock, stock, and barrel, but they control our culture.
Yeah.
Dude, he's awesome,
He's
and
savage.
I've been watching him on Twitter, and
I'm donating $2 tonight, fam.
Same here.
I donated yesterday.
Everybody
After
donate
seeing that
$2
video.
to Mike Gravel, right?
Yeah, Mike Gravel. Yeah.
You know what suck though when he gets on this. If he got on the stage, they're gonna do what they did to him last time. Because I remember watching those live, and with those type of candidates, they give him like 1-2 questions.
Yeah.
They kept all the action on Barack Obama. Hillary Clinton. They gave a little bit out to John Edwards, a little bit out to Biden. And make no mistake about it, that was Mike Gravel telling Joe Biden, you're the warmonger up here. You even want to fucking tell the Iraqi people how to live. Why don't you understand they don't want us there? Go home.
I wish I could give him another 50 years and Bernie Sanders too to live. Because that is the kind of mentality we need. That is
Can't we talk
what
to Jon
we
Snow
need. And
maybe give him some Jon Snow
No,
serum?
the lady in red. The what is it? The Red
Witch.
Queen.
The Red Witch.
The Red Witch.
The Red Witch. That's what I call you when you don't come out of your room to eat the pasta I make you. That's sitting on the counter getting cold. And yes,
Damn,
I
that
make
was
a
a
lot
powerful
of,
video,
I
fam.
make a lot of pasta for fam and stuff like that. Johnny, did you have anything else? It's about time you
Man.
jumping in there. Johnny Tsunami over there, a.k.a. Johnny Pesto, Johnny Ridicule. What was the other one you called him?
I can't remember.
I don't know.
So
Johnny,
many
Johnny,
names.
go,
Dude.
whatever. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella. Convo out.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Go over to Convo Couch YouTube. Help us out, the YouTubes. Steiner, we love you.
Stay.
Go on
Go
10
on
minutes.
Facebook. She's gonna be live.
L. Steiner, my favorite pain
Robust
in the ass.
opposition.
Robust.